Hello, I'm here to talk about the new Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Now, hopefully I've waited long enough to where most people have seen it. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Also, I'm spoiling the whole movie. So I watched all 8 Star Wars movies. I guess there's like offshoots like Solo and Rogue One. I've watched those too, but I didn't watch them like in chronological order. There's some weirdos out there with a lot of websites that tell you the correct order to watch things. I just watched it in movie order. But I watched all 8 before I watched the last one in theaters, which in my opinion was very helpful because I don't remember anything from when I watched them when I was a teenager. And there's also just like a lot of words, like a lot of planets, a lot of names for the flighter things. There's also like a lot of different creatures. All of them have names and you have to remember them all. Otherwise you kind of feel stupid. So anyhow, I watched all 8 before I watched the last one. So I had everything very fresh, which was super helpful. I just have a couple things that I wanted to touch on. Okay. Overall, I loved the movie. I think this was probably the Star Wars movie that was closest to like a Harry Potter film. Okay, now bear with me. All right. I know there were no wands and there's no Voldemort technically, but it just did not have a lot of the key Star Wars things that it usually has. I just feel like there weren't a ton of weird, different creatures and there weren't a ton of new, interesting characters. Like there were a lot of humans in this last one. Like, did anyone else notice? Like just they were mostly human, which I guess is cool. I guess I'm a fan of humans, but it just didn't seem as like exotic as all the other Star Wars had. Also, and this is honestly the one thing that I genuinely believe would have made this Star Wars the best movie instead of just like an 80% of a best movie. They needed to kill a good guy. Again, I'm spoiling this. Kylo Ren dies at the end because he gives his life for Rey and they kiss. Hallelujah. He technically has not been like a good guy the whole time. So him dying was just kind of like epic and necessary. All right. But they needed to kill Chewie or Poe or Finn or all 3 of them. And then this movie would have been amazing because you were almost too happy the whole time. Like they tried to make that dark planet kind of evil and like obviously Palpatine came back, not a super joyful guy. At the end of the day, you were happy that Kylo Ren became Ben Solo. You were happy that Chewie didn't actually die. You were happy that Poe had this kind of like dark, cool past and then was also like awkwardly hitting on this robot girl. And then you were happy that Finn didn't actually die on his suicide mission. I have a deep and genuine problem with sending people out on a suicide mission and they live. If you're going out on a suicide mission and that's the choice you make, let them die. Like how did Lando and Chewie find them in the sea of millions of ships? They found Finn and the other girl who I don't remember. But anyhow, I was actually annoyed. I was annoyed that they didn't die. Though that was honestly kind of my biggest pet peeve. It was like too happy for a Star Wars film. Like there needed to be a plenty more darkness for it to be something like pretty epic. Anyhow, overall, I loved the Star Wars film. I would definitely see it again. Oh, last thing, okay? The only issue I had with this plot was it was very like anti-Star Wars in terms of like a pattern. The Star Wars plots are usually very straightforward. Like these are the bad guys. These are the good guys. The good guys try to kill the bad guys and blow up their usually gigantic Star Destroyer Death Star situation to like find the plan and then proceed to blow up the thing. And in this one, it was like 14 plots going on at the same time. It was basically like, it reminded me of the series finale of Lost, where it was like they were just trying to tie up all the loose ends, but by tying up all the loose ends, you're just kind of like, there were that many strings to begin with? How did we get here? Why are there so many knots? So I just felt like the plot, it was too much. They needed to make this like the Deathly Hallows, again, the Harry Potter reference, but they needed to do a part 1 and a part 2, and they needed to go a little bit in depth and kill more people. Again, I do recommend that you go see it because it's lovely. I also recommend trying to do the whole 8 before because it just makes it a little bit easier to understand. There you go. Hope I didn't piss anybody off. Also, actually, I don't care. So yeah, I'd probably give it 3.5, like 3 popcorns and a kernel in terms of like Star Wars as like a whole. But for the actual movie, like if all you did was watch that one movie, I'd probably give it like 4 popcorns. So maybe don't actually watch all 8. I think I just lied. Yeah, don't watch all 8. Just watch that one and have a really good time. All right, that's all I got. Bye.